Good evening, students. Good evening, all of you. A very good evening, everyone. All right. So, good evening to all. We are going to start with our session for today for growth and development. And today, in our session, we are going to talk about some very important drivers of growth. Okay, which is a very core part of your syllabus, and from where you can expect some very general questions, very generic questions, in which you can expand your answer through data, through in through giving some facts and figures. So we're going to discuss three such drivers of growth today. Sure, Manisha. Like I have told you all before as well, and I have also given two books in the notifications also. One is Michael Todaro for growth and development, and another is just like a basic ebook for growth and development. Both of them I have uploaded in the notifications of this batch. You can just have a look at that in your previous notifications. And other than that, if you want to have a hard copy book, then you can go for Development Economics by H.L. Ahuja, which is a very basic and a very good book for your syllabus. Okay. Other than that, there is A.P. Thirlwall also, which is a very nice book. Something that you all should note is recommending 5 to 6 books for one subject is not a very intelligent decision, because there are a lot of modules that you have to cover, and the book which suits your language and understanding the best, you can opt for that. No reason to go for 10,000 books. Okay, so this is something that is a important practical note. But apart from that, these are the different things. There are different books and authors that are recommended for the economics optional syllabus, from which you can pick any one, whether it is H.L. Ahuja, whether it is A.P. Thirlwall, whether it is Todaro. Todaro becomes a little higher order book. Okay, core economics. So you may or may not refer to that. And another ebook I have already shared, which has basic growth and development aspects. There's a lot that has been given in the index also of that book, which I have uploaded in the notifications. So do check that as well. Okay. Now, good evening. Good evening. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the drivers of growth. Okay. This is a very core part of your syllabus. Okay. Um, you'll not get this same sentence, drivers of growth, in your syllabus. Okay. In your syllabus, basically, these drivers of growth have been given as different sentences. For example, it is written human capital and growth. Okay. Or it is written role of agriculture in growth. Or it is written role of research and development in growth. Okay. All of these three are very important drivers of growth, and which is why we are going to talk about it together today. And I'm going to separately tell you about each and every aspect. Okay, so we're going to focus on that. The very first aspect that we're going to talk about is human capital. We have initially also talked about human capital, right? And which is why we are going to talk about human capital first. Now, firstly, while looking at um, these three drivers, let me write them down. We are talking about human capital, okay? We are talking about agriculture, we are talking about research and development. Okay, so what I'm going to do today to make this topic more relative, I'm going to talk from the point of view of Indian economy so that you also understand it in connection with Indian economy. Okay, and you also connect with these topics also. So while writing the answers, you will always understand what are the important facts and figures that you should write or you can write for such type of questions. Okay, all right. Now, um, when we talk about drivers of growth in any economy or in terms of Indian economy, what do the drivers do? Why these three parameters are considered as drivers? So, firstly, they enhance productivity. Correct? If any of these parameters grow, whether it is agriculture or research and development or human capital, there will be increase in productivity in the economy. There will be increase in innovation in the economy, and there will be enhancement of sustainable development. Sustainable development. So because these three drivers provide us with these three important solutions to push the economy forward, that's why each of the roles of these drivers is very important to understand. What is the role of each of these parameters? It is very important to understand. So we start from human capital. Okay, let's say we are talking about growth in human capital. Okay, now what is human capital? We all have talked about physical capital for the last couple of days in terms of different growth theories, right? What about human capital? So human capital, usually people mistake by thinking or linking human capital growth as growth in humans, but that's not true. Growth in human capital does not mean it is same as growth in humans. Growth in human capital means growth in skills, growth in knowledge, growth in health of an economy's workforce. Okay, so here we when we say that, when the economy's growth, economy's human capital grows, it means what we are saying, we are saying that the skills are growing, the knowledge is growing, the health of the economy is growing. Okay, the health of its workforce is growing, and because of this growth it significantly impacts the economic development. Why? Because it is enhancing the productivity, labor productivity, it is fostering innovation, and after all, it is gathering structural transformation. Because of the upgradation of all of these things, technically what is happening? There is structural transformation. It is leading to structural transformation. Okay, so that is the basis of human capital. Now let us find out what is the what are the key roles, what are the key roles and responsibilities of human capital in the economy. The very first role, like we were talking about, productivity. So we can say that increased labor productivity. Increased labor productivity. A very key role of human capital is what? To increase human labor productivity. Now, understand this from the context of India only, okay? A very well educated and a very skilled workforce is always going to be better equipped to adopt and utilize advanced technologies, which will ultimately boost the productivity of different sectors, not just one sector, but different sectors. So, here your answer should not finish कि it increases the labor productivity. कैसे increase करते हैं labor productivity? How? The reasoning should always be adequately attached. Yesterday you were asking me, right? Answer writing basics. You all should note these things down. Okay? When I'm saying that the labor productivity increases, usually most of your answers finish there. But you fail to reason it or provide logic. And these logics are within you. You all know it. You all know that how will labor productivity increase? We are not just talking about labor in an agricultural sector. You have to think beyond it. Labor means skill, knowledge. Labor means some kind of work that has been done. So, when the laborer or the worker, which is providing labor, is going to be educated, is going to be skilled, is going to have some capacity to perform, automatically the productivity is going to enhance, right? So that's the first role. Then the second role is to provide a base for economic growth. To provide a base for economic growth. Now, again, the answer does not end here. How human capital and economic growth are interrelated. You have to give an explanation here. So, let's say that when there is investment in education, or when there is investment in skill development, healthcare facilities, what happens? It is going to enhance the potential of individuals. It is going to make individuals so potential that they will contribute to higher per capita income and higher GDP. So automatically that is going to relate to economic growth. Now, why have we used education, healthcare, skill? You all understand? Because we are talking about human capital over here. Okay, the parameter is human capital, and human capital we have understood these are the three things under it. So how these three things can increase, enhance, in the answer we will write on those parts. Good health also increases labor productivity. Yes, definitely. I will give you an example of this. We have studied in the Marxian theory. What have we studied in Marx theory? What have we studied in the concept of labor theory of value? That capitalists thought that the wages should be given at subsistence level, survival level. So if the wages go down below the survival level, will there be survival? Will the people be able to survive? No, they will have malnutrition issues, starvation. They will not be able to provide for their consumption. Why? How will they seek healthcare? Correct. So that is so connected. That's why human capital also relies heavily on healthcare. The economies where healthcare is not provided, or the healthcare facilities are not provided properly, those economies conditions are very, very poor. Because individual, you know, um, अगर सोल्जर है, अगर वो जिंदा रहेगा तभी तो वो लड़ पाएगा, राइट? सो even if all individuals are not soldiers, but they are respectively representing their own sector, and that's why their growth, individual growth, is completely directly proportional to the sector's growth. When you were in school, you must have seen that in school many a times there are students who fall sick a lot. They fall sick a lot. They have some or the other thing going on in their bodies, and there's they're either in fever or something or the other happens, and they're not able to maintain like a good percentage or good marks because of that. Because the whole year they are distracted, the whole year they are not able to function, half the time they are not able to attend the classes. Individuals growth so drastically depended upon healthcare. Okay. Third key role here is structural transformation. Structural transformation. Okay. What is structural transformation? The human capital actually facilitates the shift from agricultural sector, which is like the basic sector, to higher productivity sectors. Okay. Like we studied in the theory by Lewis, that shifting from one sector to another sector. What is that? Basically, economic growth happens when the labor is shifted from agriculture sector, which is the basic sector from where every economic starts, to high performing sectors, to sectors which are not dependent on monsoon, which are not dependent on uncertainties. Okay. Now, what are these high performing sectors? Either manufacturing or services. But for that structural transformation, what is required? Automatically, the human capital development is required. Okay. Otherwise, unskilled labor going and migrating will not do anything extra. Correct? Yes? Yes. Vicious circle of poverty. Huh. In context of what? I think you wanted to write that if the structural transformation does not happen, the economy is going to get stuck into vicious circle of poverty. I think that was the sentence that Virappan missed. I think that's what he wanted to write, right? So yes, structural transformation is so important, because it is human capital, growth in human capital, which is going to facilitate this structural transformation. Yes. Then there's also another thing which is called as social mobility. Okay. Social mobility. Social mobility means what? So when the there is improvement in human capital in the economy, it is going to foster equitable growth. Equitable growth. There will be equality or equity in growth process. Okay, which means what? That the sectors which have disadvantages, okay, or the sections in the society which are called as the disadvantaged sectors or segments, okay, the sectors and segments which are backward, okay, such segments of the society also will have access to better jobs and opportunities. Okay, because here when we talk about growth in human capital, we are not talking about only growth of human capital for some sections of the society. We are talking about the whole economy, whether the candidate, whether the individual is from a remote location or from a metro city, whether the individual is from a backward background or a modern background, does not matter. Growth in human capital means aggregative growth. So it will mean that we will have better social mobility. Societies are going to gradually blur the lines of, um, you know, this is one section, this is other section, this is advantaged group, this is disadvantaged group. Those lines are going to get blurred, and the society is going to grow all together. So each and every individual, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, etc., will have access to better economic opportunities. That's what happens when there's growth in human capital. Okay. Then uh, another, one thing more that I can think of is global competitiveness. Global competitiveness. Now, you can take it like this, that growth to be penetrative. Yes, exactly, Janvi. Social mobility means growth to be penetrative. Correct. So now global competitiveness means what? We do not just want to grow our human capital just for the sake of domestic purposes or just our own purposes, our own country's purposes. We want that our products and our output, our services should grow in such a way that they have an international or global impact. Okay, so as let's say India integrates into the global economy, because now it's a phase of hyper globalization. So if India represents that part of global economy, a highly skilled labor force is going to ensure competitiveness in different industries, in different sectors. The present top running sectors for India, let's say, are IT, pharma, pharmaceuticals, engineering services. But we want that different other sectors also grow, different other sectors also become highly competitive, right? So, growth in human capital also shapes the global competitiveness. You all are preparing for economics optional, right? For UPSC civil services. Imagine what is the role of adding even one more civil servant in Indian economy. What changes? What are the dynamics which change? This growth of human capital directly changes the policy making, changes the kind of civil services that are being provided. It happens at a very grassroots root level. That's why it is not seen immediately, but it grows. So, which is why you have to understand that human capital, when you write about it, you do not have to write a superficial answer. Link it with country, link it with the country's growth. And don't try writing very problematic and very intricate terms, concepts. Write in simple language, understandable language. But it should link, it should connect. Okay? Here, we should also talk something about the challenges as well. What are the challenges in context of human capital in India? Yes, the very first challenge that we talk about is the gap in quality education, healthcare. Bit of brain drain, please don't write this word. This is a very old 90s ka word given by Dadabhai Nauroji. Okay, we are in the 21st century. So, brain drain is now not completely related to India or Indian economy. It is now a part of sectors and sections. Now, nobody is interested in going to the US or Canada or UK or Australia. Hardly students go to do their MBA in other countries. Hardly. And the reason is simple. Earlier, 3 decades ago, Indian opportunities were less, and India's standing in geopolitics was also weak. But today, geopolitics has also become strong, and economically, also, we have become strong. And there's a third thing that in different countries, you must have seen that Indian population, um, is not uh, welcomed. Okay, because it is growing. Not the population, but the opportunities for Indians are growing. So there's a lot of mix of things because of which brain drain is not happening today. Today you see from your own self. Would you rather, you know, give an examination and give a competitive examination to go to the US and study something for 2 years, or rather get a job in 1 year in India and start minting money? Obviously, the option two, right? So, brain drain is a long lost concept. Instead, now new things have arrived. What are those new things? We are talking about education today. We are talking about national education policy. We are talking about different types of schemes. But the quality of education is not standardized. Some colleges you will find great, spectacular education. Some colleges, institutions, you will find sublime education. So there is gap in quality education. Same way there is gap in quality healthcare. Particularly if we talk about rural areas or extended city extended areas, okay, then you will find that yes, facilities in education and health seem to be low. There are facilities, okay, and the government also has penetrated, but the facilities are lesser. Punjab, Haryana, Punjab, Haryana, there are also other issues. Okay, let me leave at that. Okay, but that's like a small sector in the whole Indian economy. Okay, and that brain drain. So brain drain was a factor. Now understand this, okay, very carefully. Brain drain was a term which was given by or which was said to be true by Dadabhai Nauroji for Indian context. Okay, why? Because the brains, the very intelligent people were going away from the country, because the width of their brains, the mentality, the mental scope, the capabilities were not matched with the type of opportunities in India. The brain drain that you're talking about in context of Punjab and Haryana is not the brain drain context of independent and intelligent people leaving the country to find great jobs in abroad. The context is different. Yes, the context, I'm not, this is not the right platform to discuss that context, but yes, that is true. And hence, this word to be used here in this context will be wrong. Okay, just that, right? Then another thing that you all know, about is the skill gap that we all talk about, right? The skill mismatch between the educational skills that are provided in institutions and the demand of the industry, different completely, right? Then even today, healthcare insurance, life insurance, all of these things are very limited to very small sections of the country. इतने जो एड्स आते हैं इंश्योरेंस के, these insurance ads are there in overall all countries, all sectors or all segments of our country, but there's a very limited percentage who opt for healthcare insurance, meaning that there is underinvestment in healthcare facilities. Underinvestment in healthcare facilities, right? 60-70% of the country has diabetes and sugar problems. 30 to 40% of those people are youngsters. They are from the age of 28 years and above. These issues have started in India, but hardly people talk about it, because talking about diabetes is like taboo, कि बात करने से बढ़ जाएगा. It's like that in our country. You know, we always, when we take insurance, it's always like, God forbid. अरे भाई, God forbid तो है ही, हर चीज God forbid ही है. But this is, this is not a practical way to approach it, right? But it's true. So underinvestment in healthcare and in education, I feel, both is prevailing in our country, which is a very big challenge which we face. Okay, so this is the context of human capital. Okay, the first driver of growth. Understood, everyone? Yes. Another practical driver of growth that we're going to now talk about is agriculture. Agriculture, you all are familiar with, right? So the second driver of growth is agriculture. So let me write it like this: role of agriculture in economic development. Okay. Now, let's talk a bit about agriculture. Huh. Ma'am, do we need to write government policies to reduce the issues? Yes, of course. You can include government policies, Janvi. Will be a very good approach while writing your conclusion statement. You guys can include government policies appropriate to that portion, okay, in your answer. Will be a very intelligent way to complete your answer. Okay. Yes, Janvi, bilkul. Definitely. You can include you can include the policies with respect to the concepts that we're talking about. For example, if you're talking about human capital formation, then you can talk about skill development programs, policies related to education, healthcare, etc. Okay, if you're talking about role of agriculture, then definitely there are so many policies regarding. Exactly, Virappan. So talk about agriculture, innovation in agriculture, diversification, crop protection, insurance in agriculture, farmer protection. All of such policies are very important. Okay, so likewise you can definitely include those policies to complete your answers. Okay. Now, we all know that for India, okay, where um, nearly 45% of the population is contributing to the employment in agricultural sector, and about 16 to 17% the agriculture contributes to GDP. No? So agricultural sector is like a major landmark, a major cornerstone, a major pillar of our economy. Okay. With the economic development, you all would understand that with economic development, the percentage of contribution of agriculture sector in the growth or in GDP will gradually be lowered. Okay, it will the share of agriculture sector in GDP will definitely decline um, gradually, because there is going to be industrialization and urbanization. However, it will not mean that agriculture is less potential. Agriculture still is going to remain a very crucial, important pillar for Indian economy, because if at all any sector provides inclusive growth and rural development, it is agriculture sector, right? And that's why agriculture sector is a very important sector for our economy. Now, again, for this also we are going to write the key roles. Okay, the very first thing, the objective of agriculture sector is food security, correct? Food security to the increasing population. Okay, so the very first aspect of responsibility of agriculture sector is to provide food security. Agriculture sector is going to ensure food security for the ever growing population in the economy. Because of that, it is also going to provide livelihood opportunities in rural areas. Okay, gradually that is also going to reduce poverty and inequality, but That is like a byproduct. Okay, but major aspect is food security. Correct? Then another thing that makes this this sector very important is rural development. Rural development, and you can write as rural development and their livelihood. Okay, rural development and their livelihood. Agriculture sector supports a very large rural population, which directly impacts the rural income. Okay, they earn directly from agricultural sector. It also impacts the rural consumption as well, because rural consumption is not based on urban products. It is based on the products that are accessible, and agricultural products are the 99% of the products are agricultural products that are being consumed by the rural sector. So this particular aspect actually drives demand for industrial goods also, because agriculture sector is also providing raw material to industrial sector, right? So when there will be a higher demand of agricultural sector products, gradually it is also going to lead to higher demand in other subsequent sectors as well. So this becomes a very important part, because somewhere down the line agriculture sector is connected with industry more than it is connected with services sector, right? Most of the population which migrates to urban areas is in the need of work, and they get work in industrial sector, right? So that's why, if you see, the maximum labor force is participating in agriculture and industrial sectors, is consuming agricultural goods, but it is dependent on the incomes generated from industrial sector also. So that's why agriculture plays a very important role in rural development and maintaining their livelihood, right? Yes, are you understanding my point? If I elaborate this, okay, let me say, let me talk from the point of view industrial sector. Industrial sector, and even you can say in and the service sector. So we talk about linkages basically, right? What is the linkage between these two sectors and agriculture sector? Agriculture sector provides raw material to industries like textile, timber, food processing, even agro-based industries. So it these linkages foster value chain. Okay, there's a value chain development. There's a value chain. क्या होता है? When there is value addition in the process of production, then we say that there's a increase in value chain, enhancement in value chain. So here, because of the close linkages of agriculture sector with industrial sector, there is a development of value chain mechanism also. Okay, not with service sector so much. If I skip that, not with service sector so much, but definitely with the industrial sector, right? Then we also talk about exports and imports in agriculture sector. Okay, so if we concentrate on export earnings, um, India actually is a major exporter of different types of agricultural products. Okay, whether it is rice, whether it is dairy, whether it is spices, whether it is tea. So India definitely holds a strong, is a strong contender of export of different type of agricultural products internationally, and which is why the sector plays a very vital role in earning foreign exchange and improve the terms of trade. Yes, I did not have, um, that's why I erased it. I have not at all talked about service sector. I just wrote it in the momentum of writing things. Okay, because I was speaking and writing. So that's why I wrote service sector, but I have not connected the dots. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, then we talk about um, sustainable agriculture also. Sustainable agriculture is related to climate resilience and sustainability. Climate resilience and sustainability. Now, we know that since green revolution, first green revolution, what happened? How our harvest increased manifold, and we compromised on the soil health. And later on, we also compromised a lot on our land because of that. Now, modern agriculture is climate resilient, has climate resilient practices. For example, for a very long time, flash flooding was a concept in agriculture. Okay, but flash flooding was a major challenge too, because of that, there was the top layer of the soil, which was very fertile, used to get corroded, used to wash out, and because of that, there were there was a huge loss of uh, great soil and manure, right? Similarly, there were techniques which were traditional and which were harming, or which were chemical based, rather not traditional but chemical based, which were harming the soil health of our economy. But now when we talk about modern agricultural practices, they are climate resilient. Okay, they are sustainable, like we have the drip and the sprinkle irrigation methodology. Okay, we have organic farming techniques which have been utilized, and we are producing those farm products, okay, with the help of very less water and very high sustainable practices, okay, which definitely are helpful in mitigating the climate change issues. Yes, correct. Ha. Yes, Virappan. Storage facilities. Very good. The storage facilities, okay, definitely would come under service sector. Yes. The storage facilities, the logistics, these are services. Like logistics. Correct. These are going to be a part of service sector. And there also very important value chains are made. Distribution, definitely. Correct, correct. Yes. So here, let me rewrite it now. Okay. Firstly, what did we say? Industrial sector linkages, we also concluded. Service sector linkages. We talk about logistics. We talk about warehousing or storage, right? We talk about distribution. So that. Okay. Here also for India, if we talk about agriculture, the challenges in India. The challenges in India with regards to agriculture. Firstly, I feel that we talk about low productivity, and the reason is simple. Reason is something that you all know about, the high fragmentation of land. Yes, the high fragmentation of land holdings and the proper utilization of technology, that that gives rise to low productivity in this sector. Correct. Second is related to monsoons. That agriculture sector, even today, when we have so much of technology at our disposal, we still our perennial rivers are still water fed, and we heavily depend upon monsoon. So dependency on monsoon is high. Over reliance on monsoons is there, and because of that, we still have not figured out efficient ways of irrigation methodologies are still insufficient, infrastructure is still insufficient. So that becomes another challenge. Okay. um what did we talk about? One is done, and then over reliance on monsoon. And then we also suffer from price volatility, the food inflation, right? Price fluctuations, price volatility. The market access to farmers is very limited, even today, or inadequate. And that results in price volatility. That results in high amount of wastages also. Okay. So that becomes also a major issue for the farmers, right? So these are very, very important aspects in Indian agricultural sector that we can think from the aspect of challenge. Yes, production of one crop, crop rotation nahi hai. Okay. Cooperative farming, yes, is not adequate. Yes, all of these things you can definitely add then. Yes, all the different challenges in the agriculture sector which hamper the growth of agriculture sector. Yes. However, make sure that when you write challenges should not be overpowering. Ultimately आपको एक आंसर इस तरीके से देना है which has to be balanced. So write a couple of challenges, but don't overpower your answer with only challenges. Okay, because we are writing an answer of development, not the reverse. Okay. All right. So these are the two drivers of growth that we talked about today. Tomorrow I'm going to have an extra class with you guys, right? Because I could not take it on Wednesday. Neutral perspective. neutral perspective meaning that you give your point, you give the limitation, but बहुत जैसे growth points you gave 3, okay, and challenge में you gave 5 points. Don't do that. Balance it out. 3 points, 4 and 3, okay, and always balance it out with conclusion that yes, these are the challenges, but we have these government policies which are right on track, or if they are right on track, we can definitely have a better agricultural infrastructure in the near future. This is how you can complete your sentences, right? Okay, all right, so that's it for today, everyone. I'm going to see you all tomorrow, because tomorrow I'll be taking an extra class of you all because I missed it on Wednesday. Okay. So tomorrow we'll meet and we'll continue from this point where we will continue from the R&D, and I'll also include a couple of more things from the syllabus which are related to the growth aspect. Okay. Same time, 6 to 7. Okay. 6 to 7 p.m. Okay, I'll put a notification also about it. All right. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.